The endless black expanse of space surrounded the Zephyrian warfleet as they advanced through the void like predators tracking prey. Admiral Kexthor stood rigid on the bridge of his flagship, Dominion's Edge, his 4 yellow eyes fixed on the sensor displays. The crystalline sheen of his skin caught the blue glow from the consoles while his crew worked in silence. For over 3 centuries, the Zephyrian Collective had dominated this sector of the galaxy. Every race they encountered either became part of their empire or faced annihilation. Their vessels, grown through advanced biotechnology rather than constructed, were as lethal as they were elegant. A single strike from their plasma cannons could erase entire cities. Commander Valara approached, her clawed feet tapping on the metal deck. The purple hue of her skin was broken by tension patterns that betrayed uncertainty. "Admiral? Unusual. Energy readings detected from the 3rd planet in this system," she said, her translator converting the sharp clicks and whistles into galactic standard. Kexthor moved to the primary display, where dozens of unidentified contacts filled the screen. Their designs were angular and crude compared to the Zephyrians' smooth organic ships, built of metal and composites instead of living biomatter. "How many targets?" the Admiral asked, studying the alien silhouettes. 42 vessels, Admiral. They're moving to intercept. Technology level appears centuries behind ours," Valara replied after double-checking her scans. Kexthor's mandibles clicked together in his species' version of a grin. 42 ships against his 47 would normally be balanced, but these primitives had no idea of the force they faced. The 3rd Fleet of the Collective had never known defeat. On the bridge of the UES Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison observed the incoming alien armada. Their ships were unlike anything humanity had encountered: organic curves and pulsing energy fields. A veteran of the Mars colony wars, Morrison had spent 15 years preparing for this day. "All stations ready, Lieutenant Commander Ryan," Scott confirmed from Tactical. The young officer, top of his academy class, was facing his first real combat. Morrison activated fleet-wide comms, linking all 42 vessels of the First Earth Fleet. "The aliens declared their intent when they destroyed Alpha Centauri Station without warning. Today, we prove humanity does not yield to threats." The formation shifted exactly as rehearsed in countless drills, each crew trained for years for this moment. The Liberty spearheaded the attack line, kinetic cannons and missile batteries armed. Deep beneath Earth, Dr. Elena Vasquez monitored the battle from the Human Defense Command. Decades of preparation for hostile contact had led to this moment. "All signals strong," reported technician Amy Foster. "Captain Morrison holds formation, awaiting their move." The Zephyrian fleet pressed forward, assured of victory. Kexthor had crushed dozens of civilizations, none lasting more than hours. "All ships, prepare plasma barrage," he ordered. "Target their largest first. They have one chance to surrender." Opening a channel, he spoke through universal translation. "Primitives of the 3rd planet, surrender your vessels and submit to the Zephyrian Collective. Resist and be destroyed." Morrison's jaw tightened. These aggressors had struck without provocation. "This is Captain Morrison, United Earth Navy. We do not yield to murderers nor bow to tyrants." A pause followed before Kexthor's voice returned, tinged with disbelief. "You refuse our offer? Your species will regret this." The battle began as plasma fire streaked toward the human lines. Earth ships scattered, executing maneuvers honed over decades of simulations. Blazing bolts lit the Liberty's shields in bursts of energy. "All ships, return fire," Morrison ordered. Kinetic rounds hurtled through space at incredible velocity. Zephyrian shields, built for energy attacks, crumbled under the impact. 3 bioships shattered instantly, tungsten slugs tearing through them like paper. Kexthor stared at his displays, stunned. His invincible fleet was falling to primitive projectiles. "Impossible," he hissed. whispered as another of his ships disintegrated under human fire. How could crude, mass-driven weapons breach their shielding? The enemy's maneuvers baffled the Zephyrian commander even more than their armaments. Rather than rigid formations, the human vessels operated in tightly coordinated groups, supporting one another while dodging retaliatory fire. When the UEE's Defiance suffered critical hull breaches and began losing life support, its crew acted in a way that stunned every alien observer. Instead of abandoning ship, they set a direct collision course for the Zephyrian dreadnought Eternal Domination and pushed their drives to maximum. The impact annihilated both ships in a flare of light across the void. They sacrificed themselves intentionally, Valara reported, her voice tinged with disbelief. The Primitives destroyed their own vessel to cripple ours. In over 300 years of conquest, Admiral Kexthor had never seen such defiance. Every intelligent species prized survival above all else, yet these humans fought by alien rules of war. The battle raged for another 2 hours as human ships employed unorthodox strategies to dismantle the Zephyrian fleet. Captain Morrison orchestrated his forces like a conductor guiding a lethal symphony, each ship striking in harmony. By the time it ended, only 12 Zetherian vessels remained intact enough to withdraw. Humanity had lost 18 ships, but had achieved what no civilization had before, defeating a Zephyrian war fleet head-on. Kexthor stared at the tactical display, the debris of his once mighty armada drifting in Earth's orbit. His hands shook as he prepared the most humiliating transmission of his career. "This is Admiral Kexthor to High Command," he sent as his surviving ships limped away. "The Third Fleet has suffered catastrophic losses. These humans are unlike any foe encountered. Send reinforcements at once." Morrison watched the aliens retreat while rescue teams pulled survivors from shattered hulls. This victory, he knew, was only the opening move in a far greater war for humanity's future among the stars. "Well done, Liberty," he told his crew as medics worked the decks. "Today, Earth proved it will face down any threat." High Counselor Zixandra received the urgent message within her crystalline command hall above Zephyr Prime. Through the quantum communication lattice binding, the collective, Admiral Kexthor's fractured report reached her mind via the floating neural interface. Her 6 arms swept through holographic controls, parsing the impossible data. The Third Fleet destroyed by primitives from an obscure system. In 3 centuries of expansion, no enemy had ever inflicted such ruin. "Replay the battle recordings," she ordered. Her family's ancestral AI shimmered into view, projecting the combat in perfect detail. The human formations ignored conventional tactics, executing coordinated strikes and deliberate sacrifices that shattered Zephyrian cohesion. Zixandra's bioluminescent patterns dimmed with concern as she watched crews obliterate their own ships. To cripple the enemy, unthinkable in a culture where survival trumped all else. "Analysis complete, High Counselor," reported the AI, overlaying schematics and tactical summaries. "Enemy employs kinetic projectiles capable of bypassing our shield arrays. Crews willingly sacrifice for strategic advantage." General Thaxmore materialized in the chamber, towering over her as his 4 eyes studied the data. A veteran of 2 centuries, he had never seen such primitive yet devastating methods. "High Counselor, their development diverged from ours entirely. While we pursued energy weapons and bioengineering, they refined kinetic warfare and suicide tactics." Zixandra activated the Emergency Council protocols, summoning the collective's military leadership. Within hours, representatives from across Zephyrian space would convene to address this unprecedented threat. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Lisa Park studied sensor reports in the subterranean command center. Holographic projections mapped Zephyrian fleet deployments as they reacted to the Third Fleet's loss. Ma'am, Massive energy readings from their home system, Lieutenant Commander Scott reported. Multiple capital ships en route. Estimated arrival, 3 weeks. Park, who had spent her life preparing for this moment, accessed humanity's most closely guarded files. Send activation codes to all covert installations, she ordered. Initiate Luna Base Shipyard Section 7. Begin final preparations for Mars Fleet Command. Contact the asteroid mining stations and instruct them to power up the construction arrays. Dr. Elena Vasquez lifted her gaze from the streams of data, eyes bright with anticipation. A lifetime of research had been devoted to readying humanity for war among the stars, and now decades of hidden work were coming to fruition. Admiral, deep space scanners show massive movement in Zephyrian sectors, she reported, overlaying the latest intelligence. They're mobilizing both first and second fleets, over 120 capital ships. Admiral Park's expression remained calm as she opened humanity's most restricted comm channel. Doctor, they think they're responding to a desperate act by primitives. They have no idea what's been built in the dark. The Emergency High Council session began inside the Crystal Dome, the seat of the galaxy's dominant power. Delegates from countless subjugated worlds appeared via hologram, while the Empire's true rulers gathered in person. High Counselor Zixandra addressed them with ancient ritual words preceding every major campaign. Fellow members of the collective, we face a challenge without precedent. A primitive race has defied our will and destroyed one of our fleets. General Thaxmore stepped forward, presenting tactical recordings of the battle and noting the alien behaviors that baffled Zephyrian command. They fight without regard for survival. Their formations inflict maximum damage, accepting catastrophic self-losses. Debate raged for hours. Some urged diplomacy. Most demanded overwhelming retaliation. In the end, consensus was clear. This human resistance must be crushed before inspiring rebellion elsewhere. Deploy first and second fleets immediately, Zixandra ordered, entering the activation codes. 120 ships will erase them. No rumor of defeat must spread. At a forward base, Admiral Sexthor received the command as repairs continued on his battered fleet. Survivors whispered of humanity's terrifying resolve. Many sought reassignment to avoid facing them again. Prepare for immediate departure, he told his officers, hiding his own unease. High Council orders the destruction of Earth itself. We will not underestimate them again. Across the solar system, preparations unfolded in hidden strongholds. On Luna's far side, vast shipyards disguised as mining sites revealed their purpose as hundreds of warships emerged from subterranean docks. Mars's orbital platforms, long masquerading as research hubs, deployed weapons dwarfing official Earth fleet armaments. In the asteroid belt, mining stations unveiled themselves as fortified military installations with their own fleets. Admiral Park coordinated updates from each site, overseeing humanity's largest military operation. All stations report. Ready for Operation Thunder, she told her staff. The aliens believe they'll face one primitive fleet. They're about to learn otherwise. President Dan Walsh arrived with final authorization codes. As humanity's elected leader, he bore the decision to reveal Earth's full power. Admiral, do we have the ships to match their retaliation? He asked, reviewing fleet strength. Estimates. Park brought up the master display. Dozens of hidden task forces lighting the map. Mr. President, they judged us by their standards. They think we built one fleet. Humanity never builds just one when preparing for war. The countdown to the next battle began. Throughout human space, crews prepared to unveil the secret that would shift galactic power forever. Earth had not constructed one fleet. It had built 11, hidden so well that even its own people didn't know. The Zephyrians were about to learn that attacking Earth was their greatest mistake. 3 weeks after the first engagement, the Zephyrian armada burst from hyperspace at the UE system's edge, a storm front of annihilation. High Counselor Zixandra commanded from her flagship Infinite Dominion, 120 warships fanning into attack formations. The Titanic bioships pulsed with light, their living hulls primed for slaughter. Each could incinerate a planet, and together, they formed the largest force deployed in over a century. No species had ever survived such retaliation. Aboard the rebuilt Dominion's Edge, Admiral Kexthor stood at his station, feeling both dread and anticipation. His earlier clash with humanity had taught caution, yet surely no primitives could endure such overwhelming power. "All ships ready. For battle, High Counselor," he reported, scanning the displays. "Their home world lies defenseless. Their lone fleet cannot hope to stand." Captain Jake Morrison observed the alien armada's advance from the bridge of his freshly commissioned flagship, UES Liberty II. The original Liberty had been lost in the last battle, but Earth's shipyards had already produced a superior successor with upgraded weaponry and defenses. The first Earth fleet held position near the asteroid belt, 45 ships locked in a defensive stance. To the enemy, it looked like a last, desperate stand with humanity's only remaining force. They had no idea it was a trap. "All ships, hold position and await my command," Morrison ordered, watching encrypted updates from hidden fleet commanders scattered across the solar system. "Stick to the plan. Draw them in, then spring it." Beneath Earth's surface, Admiral Lisa Park directed the most intricate military operation in history. 11 fleet commanders awaited her signal to reveal the truth. "Signal from deep space monitors, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Commander Scott. "The Zephyrian fleet is advancing toward the asteroid belt in attack formation. Captain Morrison has engaged. The opening moves went exactly to plan." Morrison's fleet fired on the closing enemy while retreating deeper into the asteroid field, using drifting rock as cover for coordinated strikes. High Counselor Zixandra watched in satisfaction as her superior force pressed forward. "Maintain the attack," she said coldly. "Do not let any escape. Today we end what Kexthor began." For 2 hours, the First Fleet executed a controlled withdrawal, inflicting steady losses while selling the illusion of a dying resistance. "Human strength is fading, High Counselor," Kexthor reported, scanning damage tallies. "Ammunition running low, multiple ships critically damaged. Victory will be ours within the hour." As the Zephyrians widened their formation for the killing blow, Morrison sent the signal that would change everything. "All fleets, this is Morrison. Execute Operation Thunder. Show them what we've built." From behind Jupiter, the Second Fleet emerged like avenging angels from the void. 60 ships under Admiral Carl Hughes, charging at maximum velocity. Alien crews stared in shock as warships they'd never imagined appeared on sensors. Larger, stronger, and armed with weapons crafted to shatter bioships. "Impossible," Zixandra breathed. "Where did they come from?" Intelligence reported 1 fleet. Before the thought could settle, the Third Fleet arrived. 55 ships under Admiral Nancy Chen, emerging from Saturn's rings, their signatures masked by the giant's radiation. Chen's forces struck from the rear while Hughes slammed into the front. Morrison's weakened First Fleet unleashed a brutal counteroffensive, springing the jaws of the trap. "How many fleets do they have?" Kexthor roared as his flagship shuddered under fire. "No primitive species could field such numbers." The Fourth Fleet answered, launching from Martian platforms disguised as civilian stations. Admiral Kevin Barnes led 70 ships in a direct strike on Zephyrian command, broadcasting, "This is Admiral Barnes of the Fourth Fleet. You came expecting weakness. You found humanity." Panic surged through Zixandra as more human fleets materialized. The Fifth, under Admiral Rachel Torres from behind Luna. The Sixth, under Admiral Sam Rodriguez from Venus's shadow. Each fleet was stronger than the last, armed with weapons built to dismantle Zephyrian biotech. The truth was undeniable. This was no primitive race, but a hidden superpower ready for this moment. "All ships, retreat," Zixandra ordered, as her flagship's living hull buckled under fire. "We must report to the High Council." But escape was impossible. Human fleets had them encircled. Morrison's trap closed tight, and the massacre began. 6 coordinated fleets tore through the armada, kinetic rounds smashing biohulls, missile salvos saturating alien defenses. Ship after ship detonated in bright, silent eruptions. Sexthor's flagship split apart under relentless barrages as he sent his last report to any Zaharian vessels that might escape. "Warn the collective. The humans field at least 6 complete fleets. They have prepared for this war for decades. Do not underestimate them. Only 18 Zephyrian ships broke free of the solar system, carrying tales of Earth's war machine that would haunt the galaxy. High Counselor Xandra perished when her flagship erupted, but her final broadcast reached Zephyr Prime with words that shifted galactic policy. "The humans are not primitives," she said amid the flames. "They are the most dangerous species we have ever faced. Summon our allies. We cannot stand alone." On the bridge of the Liberty II, Morrison surveyed the drifting wreckage while rescue crews combed the battlefield. "Transmit to all fleets," he ordered. "Mission accomplished." Today, the galaxy learned Earth defends itself. Admiral Park received the victory reports even as she planned the next phase. Long-range sensors detected massive fleet redeployments in Zeon space. As news of the crushing defeat spread among other civilizations, Earth's hidden power was no longer secret. "All commanders, remain at full readiness," she instructed, reviewing incoming intelligence. "This victory won't end the war, it will bring every hostile race to our doorstep." But Earth was ready, having mastered the greatest truth of interstellar conflict. Survival required not enough ships for the first battle, but enough for all that followed. Word of the second Zephyrian disaster raced across the stars via quantum, networks binding hundreds of systems. In the crystal palaces of the Altheran Empire, Chancellor Quindara studied battle footage while her generals whispered in alarm. The holodisplay showed human warships materializing from impossible hiding places in numbers far beyond all estimates, 6 fleets, each more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen. "These humans deceived us all," she told her council. "We took them for a primitive race, yet they wield the largest navy in known space." General Tixmore, his crystalline frame glittering in blue light, addressed the chamber. "During first contact, they showed only 1 fleet to make us underestimate them," he explained, highlighting coordinated feints and traps. "This reflects strategic planning over decades, perhaps centuries." Similar discussions unfolded in ruling halls and war councils across the galaxy as power blocks reeled from the shift in balance. The hegemony of K called emergency sessions. The Silicon sovereignty activated deep space sensor nets. In the gas giant palaces of the Plasma Court, Supreme Conductor Zmesh absorbed intelligence from her spy network. Though her kind had stayed neutral, the scale of this threat demanded action. "These humans are an existential danger to all established powers," she pulsed to her fellow conductors. "Their doctrine is built to defeat superior numbers through deception and sacrifice." Soon the Galactic Security Council met at Harmony Point, a neutral station. Representatives from 17 species gathered to address the human question. Ambassador Velkara of the Zephyrian Collective delivered her government's position, hiding the desperation in her tone. "Esteemed delegates, we face a crisis that endangers our entire region," she said, projecting the wreckage of 2 lost fleets. "These beings must be contained before they can project force beyond their home system." The debate stretched for hours as each delegation weighed the danger to its own domain. Some pushed for immediate diplomacy, others for a preemptive strike before humanity expanded further. Chancellor Quindara voiced the prevailing view. "We must forge a coalition powerful enough to crush their defenses before they prepare more surprises. No single species should dare face them alone." Meanwhile, on Earth, long-range reconnaissance drones returned with confirmation. Admiral Park's worst fears were realized. The galactic response to humanity's recent victories exceeded even her most pessimistic projections. 17 species have committed forces to what they call the Galactic Pacification Force, reported Commander Scott while updating the threat assessment database. Current estimates put them at over 3,000 ships from across known space. In the secure briefing room beneath the White House, President Dan Walsh reviewed the incoming intelligence. The revelation of Earth's hidden fleets had achieved its intended deterrent effect, but had also united potential enemies in unprecedented numbers. "How many ships can we deploy if they throw everything at us?" he asked. Admiral Park accessed the most restricted database in human space. "Mr. President, we have 11 operational fleets, over 4,000 ships. The 7th through 11th fleets have completed construction and trials." Dr. Elena Vasquez, chief scientific advisor and expert on captured Zephyrian technology, looked up from her analysis. "Even with our technological edge, a 3-to-4 ratio is extreme risk," she warned, displaying probability curves that ended grimly for Earth. But Park had prepared for exactly this. "Doctor, they believe they've seen our full strength." Beyond Neptune, hidden construction yards still worked day and night. On the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, automated factories churned out weapons and ammunition. Asteroid mining stations shed their civilian disguises to reveal massive military supply depots. Research stations in the Kuiper Belt activated deep sensor webs and encrypted comm arrays. Admiral Carl Hughes, newly appointed to command the 7th Fleet, studied intel on the approaching coalition. His ships, built in total secrecy, were faster, tougher, and deadlier than any in service. Activating a secure link to his 65 captains, he said simply, "The enemy thinks they know our strength. Today, we prove them wrong." The alien alliance swelled as ancient enemies set aside grudges. The crystalline hegemony committed their living warships. The Metal Confederation sent heavily armored battle platforms. Even the mysterious energy collective emerged from their hidden dimension. Never in galactic history had such a force assembled. Supreme Admiral Corval of the Hegemony of K took command, establishing his headquarters aboard a massive coordination station. "Fellow commanders," he addressed the coalition, "we face an enemy that thrives on deception. Our numbers will crush their tricks and restore order." In the deep vaults beneath Luna Base, Park reviewed the activation codes for the most classified program in human history, Operation Overlord. The 6 fleets that had destroyed the Zephyrian Armada had been only the beginning. The true scale of Earth's war machine was about to be revealed. At the edge of human space, the Galactic Pacification Force massed like a storm. 3,000 ships from 17 species, steel and plasma stretching across thousands of kilometers. On the bridge of his flagship Cosmic Dominance, Corval reviewed the attack plan. Intelligence still claimed humanity had only 6 operational fleets, 400 ships at most. No species could withstand such odds. In the Proxima Centauri system, Captain Jake Morrison stood aboard the UEE's Humanity's Resolve, the newest and most advanced warship ever built. His tactical board showed the concealed positions of all 11 human fleets. Over 4,000 ships waited in the shadows. "All fleets," Morrison transmitted on the quantum network. "Today we do more than defend our home. Today we claim humanity's place among the stars and show the galaxy what happens when peaceful people are forced to fight." Park's mobile command ship drifted behind Proxima itself, cloaked by advanced shielding. "Admiral," Scott reported. "Enemy. Fleet entering the system. 2 hours to contact." President Walsh appeared via secure hologram. "Are our forces in position?" Park's eyes stayed on the tactical display. "Mr. President, all 11 fleets report ready. The enemy is about to learn humanity builds more than it shows." The battle began exactly as planned. Morrison's first fleet engaged the alien vanguard near the system's outer edge. For 1 hour they fought a deliberate withdrawal, selling the illusion of a desperate last stand. The human fleet feigned a desperate retreat, luring the alien armada deeper into the trap. Supreme Admiral Corval watched with smug satisfaction as his overwhelming force pressed forward. "Maintain formation and advance," he ordered, eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Do not let a single vessel escape justice." Convinced he had mastered human tactics, Corval believed no trickery could withstand the sheer magnitude of his numbers. Then, from behind Jupiter, the Second Fleet emerged, and the battlefield changed instantly. Admiral Carl Hughes led 65 ships in flawless formation, striking the alien flank with precision. Concealed in the gas giant's radiation shadow, their stealth systems had rendered them invisible to enemy sensors. Before Corval could react, the Third Fleet, Admiral Nancy Chen commanding 70 ships disguised as asteroids, struck from the debris field opposite Hughes. The alien formation was caught in a merciless crossfire. "Impossible," Corval muttered, watching more human contacts appear. "Our intelligence reported only 6 fleets. Where are these ships coming from?" From the glare of Proxima Centauri itself came the Fourth Fleet, Admiral Kevin Barnes's 80 ships, still glowing from their passage near the star. Then Admiral Rachel Torres's Fifth Fleet descended from far above the ecliptic plane, followed by Admiral Sam Rodriguez's Sixth Fleet, concealed until now within an artificial asteroid field. The Seventh Fleet arrived next, its debut in galactic warfare. Admiral Paul Mitchell commanded 90 vessels equipped with the most advanced technology humanity possessed, designed specifically to counter multiple alien species at once. Admiral Morrison's voice then cut through every frequency. "You came here thinking you faced 6 primitive fleets. Today, you'll learn humanity prepares differently than you imagined." From the outer planets emerged the Eighth Fleet under Admiral Lisa Chen. From an impossible vector came Admiral Robert Taylor's Ninth Fleet. The aliens now realized the truth. They were outnumbered. Corval's composure cracked as the 10th Fleet appeared, Admiral Jennifer Walsh commanding 100 warships in the largest human formation ever fielded, their weapons untested but devastating. Then came the final blow. The 11th Fleet, Admiral Sarah Mitchell leading 110 ships armed with technology alien science deemed impossible. They had traveled through interdimensional space to arrive behind the enemy lines. "How many fleets do you possess?" Corval demanded as his flagship shuddered under relentless fire. Morrison's reply became legend. "We don't count fleets by what you see, Admiral. We count by what we choose to reveal." The battle turned into a rout. 11 human fleets dismantled the greatest military coalition in history, their multidisciplinary weapons tearing through defenses while flawless coordination broke enemy formations. Explosions lit the void, yet human crews rescued survivors and offered aid. Morrison had ordered the victory to display not just human power, but human mercy. Only 400 alien vessels escaped to spread the truth. Challenging Earth was a mistake no civilization should repeat. Supreme Admiral Corval perished when his flagship was split apart, but his final transmission echoed through every surviving ship. "Warn them all. The humans are the most prepared civilization the galaxy has ever known." 5 years later, the galaxy basked in unprecedented peace. Former enemies now sought partnership instead of war. On Luna Base, Admiral Morrison watched the 12th Fleet's construction, not for battle, but for exploration. Humanity and its allies would journey to distant galaxies, seeking wonders beyond imagination. The greatest military force in history had made war obsolete. Outside his window, vessels of 17 species flew in harmony, crews united in discovery. The galaxy had learned humanity's true strength was not numbers or weapons. It was the power to turn adversaries into allies. And in the silent depths of space, New civilizations would one day discover the same truth the Zephyrians had. When humanity offers peace, they mean it.